Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar where we are going to discuss about a 360-degree career shift after pursuing a master's in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So as we speak, of course, artificial intelligence or AI career opportunities have escalated tremendously due to its surging demands in industries. In fact, as we're talking, the Global Business Insights, they've stated that the global AI market could rise up to more than $360 billion by 2028. And this is largely on account of the fact that AI is not just used in tech, but across different fields and industry. So whether we're talking about healthcare or we're talking about retail, we're talking about e-commerce or manufacturing, AI indeed is creating waves. And not only has it impacted industry and society in numerous ways today, but it will continue to do so long into the future. Today we have with us Manish Thota from Yeshiva University. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today, Manish. So Manish describes himself as an AI, ML, and data scientist enthusiast. And he is currently pursuing his master's in artificial intelligence from Yeshiva University. Prior to that, if I were to give you a brief introduction about Manish, he has graduated with a BTech in computer science from Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences in 2020. And he also holds an MTech with a focus in big data analytics from SRM University, having graduated in 2022. Professionally, he holds extensive experience in the field of data science and data analytics. And prior to joining Yeshiva, he worked as a data scientist in Stryker, which is one of the world's leading medtech companies offering innovative products across medical and surgical devices, so on and so forth. So welcome, Manish, once again. And my name is Rakhi Talukdar. I'm a senior associate at upGrad abroad. And before we move ahead, Manish, would really appreciate you introducing yourself to our viewers and tell us your reasons of choosing to do a master's in artificial intelligence.
Yeah, thank you, Raki. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Choosing masters in AI and specifically in US was actually one of the dream come true for me because the innovation you speak about, your research you speak about, your technology aspects whatsoever, the world is shifting towards a new paradigm right now, that is AI, that is cybersecurity. We're primarily focusing on AI. Maybe it might be chat GPT, or maybe it might be different kinds of technologies that are coming up in AI. So seeing the transition, I feel that there is more to it and there is more we can do to it in terms of research or in terms of contributing ourselves into the community. I can see that more happening right here, right now. So I wanted to have the transition. That is the reason why.
All right, excellent, Manish. So of course you've chosen US, and US, as we know, is the technology hub, or it's the innovation capital of the world. Now, of course, AI is a very niche field, and in many parts of the world, it is still at a very nascent stage. So prior to doing AI, you've done a master's in computer science, and you also ventured into data science before taking the plunge. So what were your earliest experiences of having stumbled into the field of AI? What made you choose a MS in AI versus let's say a master's in any other tech domain?
My base is very strong in computer foundations, and going forward, I also worked as a data scientist in one of the leading healthcare company. And having done that, I saw there is a lot of potential to it because AI is a field where you'll have cross-domain, cross-functionalities like, let's say, computer vision or natural language processing or deep learning.
Yeah.
There is more to it. So I thought, why not jump into this field, because I was actually doing what I wanted to do it. So I wanted to excel in the field that I'm doing it.
Okay.
So I thought, why not?
Absolutely. And as you've rightly spoken, we're talking about computer vision. And when we talk about AI, of course, we see it everywhere around us. And it's really instrumental in optimizing the way that we've even begun to, let's say, entertain ourselves, whether it's through our mobile devices, when we're using social media, or when we're talking about self-driving cars, to shopping with virtual assistants. But of course, the reality of it is that, we encounter machine learning, AI, NLP, so to say, in our everyday lives more than we know, right? So for our viewers, can you also throw some light on what is AI, if we understand it from a very technical perspective?
So AI is something, maybe, in terms of layman, you're making a machine to do the work on itself
Yeah. Yes.
rather than you doing it. And it has multiple, again, categories here. If you want to do it via vision, you have computer vision. If you want to do it via text, you have natural language processing. If you want to, combine together, you have something called deep learning. So there is multiple definitions for multiple things. But in layman terms, you want the machine to do the work by itself by training it. So that's what is AI.
All right, that's great. And of course, going from what you just mentioned, and discussing that we are on an everyday basis encountering so many of these AI technologies, it is of course no surprise that the field of AI, so to say, is rife with opportunities, right? And you've spoken about this, and when we say it's rife with opportunities, of course, there's also a unique challenge around it, and that is that there are so many jobs, and especially in the US, when we talk about it, AI jobs are increasing year on year, right? But perhaps too few qualified candidates, right? And on the upside, this also means that it virtually offers guaranteed and well-paying employment to anyone who has the necessary skill sets, right? So on this topic, Manish, what kind of backgrounds are ideally suited for a career in this field?
So before answering the idealism here, I would like to say the opportunities here, because see, in AI, or let's say as a whole AI perspective, the opportunities that we have, it's not one to one, it's one to
Yeah.
many. So it's
Yes.
like, if you're very much skilled, you have a lot of companies that can take you in.
Okay.
So that is one thing. And the second thing, the ideal candidate for this is you need to have basis of computer science. That is a must. And
Yes.
second thing, you need to have mathematics foundation that has to be very much strong, because without that there is no AI, because AI is nothing but mathematics in the background. So
Yes.
those are the two things. And the second thing is you have to be confident in the field that you're working in, and that can take you to places.
Perfect. So ideally, you say computer science or an IT related background, somebody from a mathematics background is more suited to this profession. So also with regards to, the backgrounds that you are speaking of, right? When we talk about knowing programming languages, what are essentially the basic programming languages that learners in this field ought to know? And also, what are some of the frameworks, let's say, or the libraries that, of course, you use in this field that learners ought to be acquainted with?
So talking about technical, in terms of technical, well, I would suggest Python is the
Yes.
starting point.
Yeah.
Then going forward in terms of frameworks or libraries, one has to know NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib for plotting the charts, then
Okay.
Seaborn. And going forward, in order to enhance a bit more, you have to learn scikit-learn. Then you have to learn like PyTorch or TensorFlow for, having a deep learning or natural language processing tasks. From
Hmm.
there on, one will get to know what to do next, and he can take or she can take it forward.
Okay, perfect. And when we talk about this, right, Manish, AI, of course, includes several subfields as well. You have obviously, in our conversation, you have cited a couple of terms, whether it's computer vision or whether it's machine learning. So machine learning, of course, is the second most in demand field in AI. So with respect to that, AI offers you the ability to work in a variety of fields. And of course, when we are working with life-changing technologies. So what does an artificial intelligence career path look like?
Well, it is very dynamic, I might say. AI was not there 10 years back, right now, the way we are seeing, and maybe 10 years ahead from now, things might change again. So, AI right now has certain divisions, computer vision, natural language processing, machine learning, XYZ. Maybe
Mhm.
next 10 years, you might be seeing something else. Like in computer vision, there might be again divisions.
Yeah.
So I'm very optimistic about it. So there are multiple subfields to AI again.
There are multiple subfields. Excellent. And what does the career opportunities look like? How does the career mode roadmap look like? Let's talk about from your experience, because you have done a BTech in computer science, which is of course the most relevant field for AI. Then you went on to do an MTech as well in data analytics. And then you work briefly as a data scientist. And currently, if I am correct, you are also working in as a freelancer in in a community of AI in people with AI interest, which is basically global AI hub in
Global
Switzerland.
AI.
Yeah. So how has
Yeah.
your roadmap been um, from the time that you, let's say, began your graduation, and then you delved into data science, and then you decided to pursue artificial intelligence?
So well, my forte is I evolve constantly by learning what is going on in and around in the market. So doing so, I thought to, join few communities where I can, learn things and, I can put on what I learned into giving back to the community. So
Hmm.
that's how I started off with the multiple communities. I even contribute to the open sources as well, the code
Okay.
contributions. So from going forward from there, I thought maybe, AI is something that is going to, disrupt the world right now because it's kind of a bubble right now, the way we had the internet bubble. Similar
Yeah.
to that, there are multiple aspects to it again. So if you go for self-driving cars, you have computer vision where you can, get deep down to it. And similar where, you have, let's say we have a speech pathology in our college where, we develop a few technologies where people can actually understand, for example, let's say from text to image or image to text.
Yes.
So the people who can't see or who can't speak, they can eventually understand what's happening in and around them. So that's how it is.
Okay, perfect. And coming to my next question, right? You've spoken about a lot of subfields. Is does a master's of AI prepare you for a career in all of these subfields? Also, because some of our learners, they are obviously coming from backgrounds other than tech, and we have heard about other industries. For example, if you're talking about healthcare, today there we have that option to diagnose diseases even when you are asymptomatic, and all of that with the help of AI. Or we are shopping with virtual assistants, or you don't have manual labor in factories anymore. You have smart factories which work with cobots, right? So
Mm.
ideally, if you're doing a master's in AI, and here I would also like you to bring an insight about how it's been at Yeshiva University for you. So what are the various subfields that anyone who's done a master's in AI can venture into?
Okay. So first I'll talk about Yeshiva.
Hmm.
Well, it's a very rigorous curriculum, I must say.
Yes.
24 hours is not sufficient for me because
Yeah.
there are a lot of assignments, projects, research work, thesis, everything. There's a lot of going on. So I would say, within a short span of time, you'll have a very, very congested timeline where you would like to put yourself in a situation where you learn and evolve. That is one
Yeah.
thing that is going on in Yeshiva. That is absolutely good. Second thing about the subfields, in terms of AI, I would say in a 2 year span or in a 1 year span, I would not say that you would master AI because AI is a vast ocean
Yes.
and you can't be jack of all trades because you can't be master of anything.
Yes.
So I would say, let's say if you would, if you like working in images
Hmm.
and if you want to relate that image technology with the domain of healthcare, now we
Hmm.
could go with the computer vision. So it's all
Right.
about interest.
It's
Tomorrow,
all
if you
about.
go in,
Hmm.
yes, tomorrow if you go into some field which you're not happy about it, then you can't come back, right? You have put a lot of time into it. So I must say that select a domain, select a technology that you want to work in, and then attach it to AI. If it is getting attached, then you're good to go there.
Then you're good to go there. Okay, perfect. And when you say select a domain and select, decide which technology you want to venture into, because of course AI is very vast and extensive. You've said that. So how has your university, and when we talk about Yeshiva University, of course, it's ranked 246 in the QS World University ranking, and it's ranked incredibly highly in terms of research. In fact, it's
Yes.
one of the top 50 universities in the US when it comes to their research. And also I've got to understand, and this is something I would also like to hear from you, is regarding the cutting edge research projects that students take up, whether it's studying about the financial impact of tropical cyclones and the real estate sector, so on and so forth. So does Yeshiva University provide you that kind of a playground to explore your interest?
Absolutely, absolutely. I must say, I was awestruck when I went to the university for the first time because I saw research papers hanging on the wall. You know,
Okay.
the research papers from the faculties, they were hanging on the wall and they were extremely well. For me, somebody who's coming from AI standpoint, who has done research actually in the past, seeing that it's absolutely fine. Like I'll share one of the research where denoising the bird noises via computer vision.
Wow.
I was highly motivated by seeing that because adding images in noise and combining them was something that I never imagined of. So yeah, it motivates me while seeing that, and there are other professors also where you can get motivated from.
You get
Yeah,
more.
yeah, it is a research hub. Yeah,
Yeah, and this is incredible what you just mentioned. You see research papers hanging, and I think we can go on the list of research projects that Yeshiva students have done, and they also have unique collaborations with some very well-known companies. So,
yes,
can you throw some more light on the research facilities? I think that's something our viewers
yes,
would be very happy to know.
I would love to actually.
Yeah,
And I also wanted to share something that happened recently from Yeshiva, I would say. So, our spring semester is about to end, and
yeah,
we're about to start a summer semester, and we have this something called SNP internship. So this
Standard
company
and
SNP
Poor.
offers yes,
Mhm.
offers an internship in terms of cutting edge technology, and that is computer vision, where we deal with images and a lot of stuff. And we happen to write some proposal to it, and there is a tight structure to select students. And fortunately, I got selected in it.
Wow,
And in
congratulations.
summer, I might start my internship in SNP doing a deep learning cutting edge project.
In S&P, Standard and Poor.
Yes,
All right, that's
yes,
perfect. And I think that's one of the only one of the big companies who Yeshiva is, of course, associated with, right? So also more on that, and I see that you have really shaped your career when it comes to AI, and being in Yeshiva University, which of course is in the heart of Manhattan, and you are in New York City, and I'm pretty sure that that also is a great point of leverage. So when we are talking about USA, and when we are talking about New York City also, we are talking about some very well-known companies like Hyperscience or AlphaSense or Talkwalker, who are doing cutting-edge research work in AI. So what does a career outlook typically look like in general? And also in New York City, what is the advantage of being there?
so well, I can talk an entire day about it. So in New York, what happens is whosoever you talk with, they are highly intellectual, they are highly knowledgeable,
Mm.
they know stuff which you don't know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, up leveling yourself each and every day. And going forward, we have a lot of communities here where they get together and they collaborate and they talk stuff about technology. They talk about AI. They talk about, coding challenges happening together. So there is a lot of happening here. It's kind of a fast-paced environment where if you are missed, you are missed. If you are stick to the target, you will be sticking to the target. So that's how it is.
Okay. All right. And what are like some of the roles, the meaty roles in the field of AI that
Yeah.
they are hiring for? Yeah.
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, we have subdomains. So you
Hmm.
can either be computer vision scientist or data scientist or AI practitioner, AI consultant, machine learning engineer, deep
Hmm.
learning engineer, natural language processing engineer. So we have
On and so forth.
subfields.
Yes. Yeah. And we've obviously gotten to know that the salaries for any person who is conversant with AI is, of course, much higher than a lot of other fields out there. So can you throw some light on what do the average salaries look like?
So before telling salaries, I would say someone who is going for this, he or she has to be skilled enough in order to get it. And
Hmm.
the second thing is the salary about the fields, the roles that I said here. It starts from 130, 140K.
Perfect.
So that is how it is, and depends on the location as well. If it is New York, then it is 130, 140. If it is California, it is again depending on the cost of living, 130, 140. And if
Hmm.
it is like Seattle, 150, 160. So it
Yeah.
depends.
Yes. And you've spoken about all the, let's say, cities which are very heavy on technology, which are tech hubs, right? So I'm sure our viewers would really love to know what are the various tech hubs out there and where are the AI companies really centered?
Right now, everywhere the AI companies are coming up. So
Yeah.
I'm not really sure where and when it's happening. I could say New York is one of the hub, then Seattle, California, San Francisco. San
Of
Francisco has a lot of companies,
course.
and these are the hubs in US where you can find most of the companies coming up.
Okay, perfect. So we are ideally looking at a salary of 1,30,000 to begin with, which I think it's a very handsome salary. And also, Manish, when we speak about that, there are viewers here who, just like you, come with prior experience in the field of data science, or let's say AI, and some who, of course, are freshers. So can you throw some light on how the career roadmap would look like for both of these sets of individuals?
So, well, I'll talk about people having experience
Yeah.
and a relevant experience in the field that they're going for. If it is AI, then they might have worked in field of AI prior to doing some masters.
Hmm.
For them, I would say it is kind of a cakewalk here. Only thing is you have to have skills. You have
Hmm.
experience already. If you have skills, you'll get into that positions or get into that roles and you'll do wonders. That's how I
Yes.
can see for a professional standpoint who is having experience, because I'm also in the same shoes.
Hmm.
For the person who is not having experience, I must say that they have to build skills. That
Hmm.
is the first thing for either experienced or non-experienced. They have to build skills, the non-experienced one. And I must say they need to do internships coming here, or doing a research that is actually relevant to the roles that they're going for.
Right. Right.
And the salaries, obviously it is well known, right? The people who are having experience will get much better salary than the comparing to the people who are not having
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent. And yes, of course, that's a given fact that when you come with experience, that obviously is valued. So I can understand that your experience, your prior experience is not discounted for. So you've had previous experience as a data scientist. Did anything from your previous experience help you in grabbing that, let's say, role at a global AI hub? How did you break into it?
Well, globally, I didn't do anything. They approached me and
Okay.
they had a talk, they had a chit chat. Then I spoke about what is my interest, and then we
Yeah.
had one-to-one sessions, and
Hmm.
then we were good to go.
And they were good to go. Perfect. And
Yeah.
of course, we are looking at a company in community in Switzerland. So there definitely are aspects of your work that you're doing currently that are incredibly challenging as well as intriguing. And you've also studied in India and you worked here, so how it's here and how it's there. So in terms of that, Manish, so considering that India is still at a comparatively nascent stage when it comes to AI. So, what is it about studying and pursuing a career in AI that differentiates it from doing it in India?
Well, it depends on person to person here, I must say. People who are doing their masters in AI and people are doing masters in US, I would say there is a vast difference between the professors or the research work that they carry on. Because see, if I did masters in India, right, in big data analytics from SRM, I would say I did research work, but it was effective, but not effective to the market where I can, if somebody pulls up my name and they'll be like, yes, Manish did this, yes, this his research papers was very good. That was not the scenario over there, I must say, because if you're highly intellect, if you're highly into the field, you have to have certain peer around you which
Hmm.
can motivate and elevate you.
Hmm.
This is my perspective. I'm not biased here again. I
Hmm.
feel that the resources and the community, I say it is not there much in India. Again, I'm not biased here. It's my
Yes.
perspective. So here I feel that there is more research because I'm coming from a research background. Here there is more research oriented work is going on, and
In the US, you mean? In the US,
US,
there's
yes,
more research-oriented work. Okay.
yes.
Yes.
So that's how I see myself, and that is the reason why I chose US.
Okay. All right, and what about the technologies, or let's say the skill sets? Because I think that is the most vital thing, as you mentioned. And currently, as we are looking at an industry, the jobs that we are looking at today in the field of AI were not there a year earlier. Well, let's say we're talking about generative AI, chat GPT, so on and so forth. And we still cannot fathom the power of AI and what's to follow in the next 5 years or so. So in terms of that, have you observed any new age skill sets that you've learned, and which is why ideally learners should choose US as their study abroad destination?
Uh, well, not right now. Uh, Maybe in coming future, I might see some transition. But again, adding to this point, I would say that let's say if you pick a role in India as a data
Yeah.
scientist, and it might be not the job role that you might be doing, but just a role that a data scientist has.
Okay.
And coming to US, if you have a job role as a data scientist, you are doing data scientist work. So I see there is a lot of difference between job roles and job responsibilities that are happening in India and US.
Okay.
So in that aspect, I would feel US is one of the uh, country where, or US comparing to India, you'll get job role and job responsibilities both go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Okay. There is a sync between, let's say, the designation that you've been hired for and the work that you are doing. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And at your workplace also, what about the scope of work? As in, do you also have a chance to explore? Because this is an ever evolving field. So do companies which hire, and I will definitely like to talk more about uh, the companies who hire from Yeshiva particularly, but do companies that hire give you that sort of a playground to keep exploring your skill sets? How does it work? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, they want people who actually evolve constantly by reading research papers and having, a certain skill sets that actually required for the company. Tomorrow, let's say there is a technology coming up and I'm not, uh, I don't know about it, then what is the use of me being there?
Yeah.
So that's how the people look over there, and you have to be, constantly evolved.
You've constantly evolving. And speaking of your experience in Global AI Hub, what is one recent project or let's say research work that you have done, which has been really intriguing and which is preparing you for the future of work that's to come?
So I'm still working on it. So I'll just throw some light on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I am working on a research where you can actually detect forgery in document images. Let's say you submit a reimbursement bill to the company. All right. So in that reimbursement bill, you try to change certain numbers, or maybe like cropping and putting that numbers on top of the numbers. So we have this, the research is going on where, if you upload that paper or upload that document image, automatically the forgery will be detected and it will be represented on a bounding box
Oh,
or
wow.
in terms of red.
Hmm.
So that is something that is going on right now.
Excellent. And who is ideally this solution that you're creating meant for? Which industry is this meant
Uh, well, I must say it is kind of multi-domain here. It can be
for?
used in legal, it can be used in again, law. It can be different channels. You can apply and test anywhere.
Okay, perfect. That's incredible, Manish, and I'm sure this is the first of many such intriguing and innovative projects that you are going to work on. So, following up from our conversation regarding Yeshiva University. So, of course, Yeshiva University boasts of an incredible placement rate. I believe their placement rate is 95% within the 6 months of graduation of learners. So, what are typically the companies where Yeshiva alum go to work, especially if I'm looking at this MSAI field?
Well, I must say there are a lot of companies around New York and around US where people go and work. One of them being is JP Morgan,
JP
then Goldman
Morgan, yeah.
Sachs, then some of them actually also went to, I don't know, but is it Google or not? But we don't have the placement stats right now. Maybe it will be coming by this cement. So yeah, people actually go to one of the reputed companies. Again, I emphasize that skills are important in order to get into this
Yeah.
company.
Yes. All right. And speaking of that, of course, we've already covered that people coming from various different backgrounds also have a lot of opportunities. And in New York, we are essentially looking at companies like Google, IBM, Goldman Sachs, like you've also covered. So from the time that, let's say, you step into Yeshiva, how does Yeshiva provide you the kind of support, let's say the career support services also, to get you up to stage to being hired from these companies?
So recently, we had a session with the college community where, the career strategy people, they actually spoke to us and they told us when and what will happen, when the companies will come, when you'll get selected, when the offers will be released, and how you have to apply, and what is spring, what is summer, what is winter. So everything they have explained in a proper way. So yeah, they are taking care of us in terms of careers and strategies.
Yeah, they're taking care of you. What says is that sets the Yeshiva candidates apart, because there are a lot of programs out there uh, in the field of MSAM, in masters, and there are lots of masters in artificial intelligence programs out there. So what is it about Yeshiva candidates that makes them so hireable?
Well, I must say, professor to student ratio,
Yes.
because here the professor will actually take care of you in terms of whatever doubt you have. It is like five people to one professor, and it goes in that way where you have some thought and you have a doubt, and you go to the professor and he'll clarify it.
Hmm.
So that is one thing, and doing so you will actually uh, uh, evolve in a way where you will be doing cutting edge research with the
Hmm.
professor. So yeah, that is actually, I feel, is a thing sets apart from the others.
It sets apart. Yes. And at Yeshiva, I've also heard that there is something like a STEM Fellows program where you work very closely with an industry mentor, and you also have a chance to publish your thesis in the annual research symposium. So, can you throw some light on that also, Manish?
Yeah, so working hand on hand with a research or researcher or a professor who's actually working in certain company, yes, it is true. People do work with them, and people do actually gain knowledge from them, and they try to convert that into certain aspects or prospects of their future.
Hmm.
And going forward, the symposium, yes, there is a symposium where, if you have done a very wonderful research and very wonderful paper you have published, then you would obviously be called and be presented in a community where you have to talk about your research. And from there on, there will be many, many professionals coming into your work to see your work. And
Hmm.
that's again is kind of a education, I must say, a gathering of community or gathering of people from industry where they can look at your work, and it's an opportunity to get into the industry.
Yes, it's an
Symposium.
opportunity for, I believe, to also network with industry professionals, and,
Exactly.
form those sets of collaboration which can enable you to get placed in a role of your choice after graduation. So, Manish, we were talking earlier about learners who are coming with no work experience, right? So, of course, it is just like it has happened for you when you were pursuing a career in data sciences, when you stumbled upon AI. So, with respect to learners who are coming with no work experience but would like to venture into this domain, I would like you to briefly touch upon how pursuing the pathway program from upGrad, wherein you have for an 8-month duration done the triple ITV program, which is advanced certificate program for data science. How did it really brush up your skills to make it market ready, make you market ready for the intensive course at Yeshiva, and also for what comes after?
Yeah, that's a good question, by the way. So here I see that there are two kinds of people here when
Yeah.
who come to US and who pursue certain, let's say, not not AI, but irrespective of the course that they come for.
Hmm.
So it's like this: if you are coming very fresh,
Hmm.
you will have lot of stress, and there will be a burden, and
Even when you're
burden
talking
as in, like,
about, are you talking about your Yeshiva experience or when you're doing the triple ITV program?
without doing triple IT, and if you're coming
Okay.
directly.
Okay, if you're coming directly. Okay.
So yeah, you'll have a lot of burden as in terms of curriculum, because there is a lot to take in. There is a lot to take in. because you'll have one class at on a day in a week, and the very next class that you come in for, you'll have to do assignments, you'll have to do certain discussions, you'll have to do certain projects before coming to that particular class, and you have 1 week of time. And if you don't know what to do, then you'll stuck and your marks goes down. It's not like India, because India we don't care about marks much, but here we do have to care because that matters at the end of the curriculum. So that is how people struggle if they're not going from the pathway. But if the people are coming from the pathway, I've seen certain people here as well, they can do extremely well. Let's say if there is a complicated topic, they would have already learned it in the pathway,
Yes,
and just they have to relearn it and they have to apply it. So that's how things are happening here.
absolutely.
The
So
pathway is a good thing.
the pathway is a good, let's say, start. And I think when you talk about the pathway, what I've observed is even the pathway has an intensive curriculum.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
does. Yes. So, what are some of the, let's say, highlights of the curriculum? I do understand that there's a lot of time that you spent on learning all the tools, and also sufficient amount of times understanding machine learning. So, can you throw some light on the curriculum of the triple ITB program also?
Let's say if somebody who doesn't know machine learning, then understanding from reputed professionals or reputed professors from Triple IT Bangalore was actually uh, it was in a way where any layman can understand what is machine learning. It was put it in that way.
Right.
And going forward, even if it is like deep learning or even if it is like core machine learning, it was actually good to know in a way where we can understand it properly. So
Okay.
professors from Triple IT Bangalore were really good.
All right, perfect. So I do have a lot of questions from viewers, particularly with respect to, how should their career roadmap look like? And they are still at the stage of choosing a bachelor's program. So one of the questions is that they've just passed out from class 12 and they are confused between having to choose, they are confused about having to choose between BTech in computer science and engineering or BTech in AI ML. And going further, they would like to pursue a career in AI. So which ideally would you say is a better program for them if that's their long-term goal?
So I'll answer the first 12th class question. So
Yes.
I guess it's very early to say what to choose because CSC again is a vast field. You have different domains here again. So you have cybersecurity, you have web development, you have there are other XYZ inside computer science. And now what happened is I will just highlight upon what's happening in the industry right now in
Yeah.
education industry. Just because AI ML is booming, the curriculum they are shifting the computer science from AI ML just to attract people over there. So I
Okay.
would say try things like web development, AI, and ML. Choose the one which you like because it's not that everybody are going there. I'll also go there.
That's
So
correct.
you'll end up in a way where you'll either regret it or either be happy about it. So I would suggest try everything. Maybe 1 or 2 days you can explore a bit about what is web development, what is AI, what is ML. Then you'll get the answer by yourself.
Okay, so
That is
what you're
one.
suggesting it before even choosing your bachelor's, why don't you go ahead and explore uh, some, let's say, courses that are out there, massive open online courses that are there, or you can be working on a project. Is that what you are suggesting, Manish?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. I think that's a very helpful insight. Also, Manish, largely we've spoken about people who are coming from a computer science background or an IT background or a mathematics or statistics background. But how about a learner who's coming from, let's say, a BTech in mechanical engineering, and let's say they would like to transition into a career in AI ML. So, can you help us understand how they can take it forward?
Well, I have like few of my friends where one of them was from civil engineering and the other one was from mechanical. They successfully transitioned into the AI field where right now they're working as a data scientist, both of them.
Yes.
So I say that it is not easy and as well as it is not hard.
Okay,
Because if you have that enthusiasm to do something, you will do it. And talking in terms of technicalities, if you come from mechanical or civil, you need to have certain programming base.
perfect.
If
Yes,
even if you don't have, you can come into the field. But the only thing that changes is the timeline. You have to put much time to learn the programming, and then going forward, you have to do certain other skills that are required for data science and
for
ML.
data
That is the
science.
only difference.
Yes. I think that is where the question is stemming from, because AI, a subject like AI, of course, requires good conceptual understanding of certain programming languages. And perhaps in a mechanical engineering program, you don't pursue a lot of those programming languages beforehand. So in that sense, also, Manish, would the IIITB program help them to get up to speed with what's required of them to pursue the MSAIML at Yeshiva?
Yeah, I would say yes. It's a big. I would put it in this way: Triple ITB will give a strong base to you,
Yeah,
and from there you can actually understand what's happening around. And just to add a point here, even the person is coming from mechanical engineering or civil engineering, they would have obviously taken mathematics in their coursework. And
okay.
mathematics is something that actually is required, like calculus, integration, and stuff. So yeah, it will be kind of easy if they go via Triple IT Bangalore pathway, because it will be setting a strong foundation for them.
Setting a strong foundation. And in terms of the aptitude also, let's say they have not previously learned any programming languages in depth, the IIITB program would give them that kind of a would give them that kind of an option to understand all of those programming languages, albeit even if they're learning it from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let it be Python or SQL or
Yeah.
Hadoop or whatever it might.
Okay, perfect. So for all our viewers, we have a couple more minutes with Manish, and please use the Q&A box liberally to ask all of your questions. I'm also getting a lot of follow-up questions regarding the first question I asked uh, about the learner having to choose between BTech in computer science or BTech in AI ML. So the follow-up question is that does it mean that if you pursue a BTech in computer science, they have more variety to explore in terms
Yeah,
of
that's a good follow-up question, I must say.
yes,
It does mean the same. If you go via CSE, you have multiple options. Maybe tomorrow you can choose AI/ML.
yes,
One more thing I would actually emphasize here, AI/ML is master's course. It's like
yeah,
if you don't have computer science foundation, how could you go with AI/ML?
yes.
That's how you have to question here.
Okay,
So I must say the follow-up question as the answer in itself. Yeah.
okay, perfect. Thanks for that, Manish. Now, more so before we close this webinar, we'd like you to throw some light about life at Yeshiva in general. So, how's the culture there? And also, a learner has a question that can we work on campus in Yeshiva? So, some more information regarding the part-time work rights, the post-study work visa, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so the life at Yeshiva is kind of very interactive and very, learning curve. Yeah, the learning curve that goes like exponential here. You can learn a lot of things. You can interact with a lot of professors, and nobody actually judges you the way you ask questions, because they encourage you to come and ask more to them. So it's absolutely fine here, going well. And the part-time jobs and the student jobs, whatever happening here, yes, you can get them, because multiple openings will be there when you come or before you come. So you have to be like, be there and apply.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And how soon do you start at Yeshiva? How soon do you start looking out for opportunities or networking with potential employers or go out there to seek internships?
Well, in that aspect, I would say for the first 6 months, I would suggest you to focus on the curriculum or
Yes.
whatever the teachings are going on. After 6 months, you'll have a strong, understanding of what's happening in the market.
Hmm.
And after 6 months, you have to go there in the market and just explore and connect with the people and network with them. I would
Yes.
also suggest doing this prior also, but maybe after coming to US, it will be very overwhelming of things that are happening in and around. I would suggest to do after 6 months.
Okay. Perfect. So thank you so much. I think that's very helpful, Manish. I'm sure that initially it does take you time to get acclimatized to the whole vibrant atmosphere of New York City, and also to a whole different life altogether in an overseas country. And as thing progresses, I'm sure everyone tends to get more comfortable. So following up with that, Manish, I do have a couple of questions regarding AI in general, because as we are speaking, every other day when you read a news, AI is on everybody's lips. And currently, we're mostly talking about generative AI and the host of innovation that it is bringing. So on one hand, as we talk about AI creating more jobs, right, the adoption of AI is also poised to eliminate millions of current jobs. So what's your opinion on what does the future of work look like with the adoption of AI? And what are some of the jobs that AI would impact? Or let's say, which
Uh,
go out of the industry?
so I would answer this in a different way where
Yeah.
if you say AI is taking up jobs,
Yes.
I would say it is creating skills
Okay.
that people have to learn
Yes.
uh, by means of unlearning the old skills and learning new skills right now.
Yes. Yes.
So I would not see AI taking up jobs. I would see people not focusing more on upskilling themselves. That's how I can put it in a simple way.
So you are saying that unless people upskill themselves, they would become redundant.
Exactly. Skills get eroded, and as the time goes on, as the industry moves into a different paradigm, you have to also move into different paradigm. That's how
Absolutely.
it is.
So I think, this just made me think of the Industrial Revolution. And when the Industrial
I
Revolution
was about to say the same
Yeah.
thing.
What happened is that a lot of manual jobs were put out of the way, but the Industrial Revolution also brought forth a lot of new innovative jobs, which at that point of time we could not think about. So, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts on that. And, we're speaking so much with respect to skills. And I want to take a final question from our viewer. They are a fresher and they just want you to throw some very specific light on how they need to upgrade themselves, so that 3 or 4 years down the line, just like you, they can also make a successful transition into AI.
So I would like to give a basic pathway to them. So it's like learn a programming language,
Hmm.
take up frameworks that are redundantly used here, pandas or let's say NumPy, let's
Yeah.
say Matplotlib or Cmon.
Hmm.
Second, take up another framework which is actually essential for doing some deep learning work or computer vision. I might, or maybe machine learning to start with.
Yes.
So you can learn scikit-learn or multiple other libraries that are relevant to it. After doing so, take up a project and do it end to end. Like just do it and deploy it into the cloud and put it in the GitHub and put it in the resume, and that's one thing.
Hmm.
Second thing, I highly emphasize, I'm saying it again, I highly emphasize participate in hackathons. It might be Kaggle, it might be Machine Hack. There is a different channel here going on. There are multiple, again, multiple channels. So I highly emphasize participate in one of these hackathons where you'll actually understand what skills you have gained. So in Kaggle, for specifically for that one particular question in Kaggle, every month there will be this tabular series that is happening. There is kind of I would not say competition, but I would say knowledge sessions are a kind of where they'll give the problem statement and you have to solve the entire problem and you have to get the metrics and you have to you'll come up in the leaderboard. So this happens every month. I would suggest take some time, get into it, learn what is going on in there and participate it and try to motivate yourself by getting into the leaderboard. So project and hackathon, these two things actually can make give you confidence to get into the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that is very helpful advice. So it's a chance for you to explore your skill sets right before you decide to make a move into this field. Also, when you are suggesting hackathons, let's say for example, would you also suggest that learners take up some internships, because there are a lot of data science companies in India also who are looking out for fresh
Yeah.
talent?
Yeah, why not? If there is opportunity in front of you, then you can grab it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the opportunity is there, Manish, but I think what they'd like to know is how do I go about grabbing that opportunity, considering,
Yeah.
I have to offer something in terms of how much I want to learn rather than what I can contribute tangibly. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this goes hand in hand again. You have to have skill sets. Like as I mentioned, the projects are very important because if you go and sit in an interview, the first thing they'll ask is how would you deal with this kind of data if I put it in front of you? Then
Hmm.
if you don't have prior work dealing with certain data, then how would you answer with it? So projects plays a major role in it, and hackathons actually play a very major role. I again emphasize it because it helped me in a lot of ways in my career. So doing so will actually make them understand the one who's sitting in the interview. They'll obviously understand if they do this, they can actually crack the interviews as
All right. Thank you so much, Manish, for sharing those helpful insights. And we are almost coming to the close of the webinar. So if anyone has any final questions to ask, we'd be happy to take them up. Please use the Q&A box. And we have Manish for another 6 minutes to be precise. And this is a great time for you to ask some additional questions that you may have. All right. So one question has just come up, Manish, and that is with respect to the learner coming from a testing background. And if they're coming from that background, is it possible for them to learn AI at this point of time?
well. Well, it depends on how much experience they have in testing.
Hmm. Okay.
So let's say if they can I get the answer for how much experience? Okay, I'll just give a
Yeah.
overview. Uh, let's say if you have around few years of experience in testing and if you want to come into AI, I would say you will obviously be having the programming knowledge. So it can be either if it is manual testing, then I might say it will require a lot of time. If it is like automation testing, I would say uh, the particular person might have done little programming.
Okay.
So getting into AI would be again challenging. Not challenging, I would say it is kind of time consuming because you have to put a lot of time in order to unlearn and relearn things here. And same goes for any other stream that they're coming
Okay.
from. So yeah, it's time consuming. That's what I can say.
All right. Perfect. And thanks for so much for sharing that. And the final question I have for you, right before we leave, Manish, right before we close the webinar, is that there's a person who's coming with tech experience, and they're coming with a tech experience of at least 5 years. So, on an average, how much would they be expected to earn in the US, considering employment, let's say in New York City? And how would you suggest they take ahead their career roadmap from here?
So if it is like 5 years of experience, I must say easily they can grab a package of around 160 or 180K.
Yes.
I'm talking in terms of dollars.
Okay.
So per annum, yeah.
All right. All right. So thank you so much, Manish, for being here today. This was an incredibly informative and engaging session. And I and I'm sure all of our learners have gotten to understand so much about the AI industry and the intricacies that it involves than we had before joining this session. So thanks again for your time, Manish. And before we close this webinar, any final thoughts for our learners who are keen to take this plunge just like you did?
I would suggest take risks and take paths which are not taken and do things that you love about. So that's what I can say.
Okay. All right. So on that note, thanks again, Manish. And we look forward to all our viewers. We look forward to hosting you in our webinars the next time around. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.